Hey everyone, it's Andy Barrar, Handy Andy from handyandymedia.com, and today I'm doing a review for Best Buy's blog. We're going to be comparing 3 of these new kick-push e-scooters to really help you figure out which one is right for you. Today we're going to be looking at the Segway 9Bot Max, the Unagi Model 1, and also the Kugoo M2 Pro. Now, between all of these 3, you should have a really good idea which one is right for you. So, without further ado, let's get it! Cue in that intro. Now, let's start with the build quality of the Segway 9Bot Max. Now, Segway, for a lot of you, is probably a brand that you've heard before because way back in 2001, they released the first Segway human transporter. It was that thing where you kind of just stood on the wheels and it was supposed to like change society. Well, it didn't, and 20 years later, they are back with the 9Bot Max. This really has a sturdy premium build quality to it. Everything from the tires to the large spacious deck to which you stand on really tells you that they put a lot of effort into designing this using the best materials possible. Speaking of great designs, the Unagi Model 1 is also beautifully designed, but it's very compact. It has this quick folding mechanism that allows you to basically just fold it down, carry it with you on the go wherever you need to go. Now, the Kugoo M2 Pro, despite being the more affordable of the 3, has the best build quality when it comes to the design of the suspension system. Because I'll tell you this right now, when it comes to the Unagi Model 1, it has like no suspensions. So if you're going over a cracked street, you're going to feel those bumps. Whereas in the K2 Pro, the M2 Pro from Kugoo, the suspension is fantastic. The actual board kind of like almost hovers. You almost like to go over cracked sidewalks and little bumps because you can feel the suspension. It's actually kind of fun. So what was interesting is you have these 3 e-scooters with completely different types of build quality. The Segway 9Bot Max is really designed for like kind of like long distances. And we'll talk a little bit about the speed and distance later. So you can tell by the build quality, it's supposed to be a comfortable ride for going long distances. The Unagi Model 1, like I mentioned, is really designed for portability in mind and compact folding design, super easy to get it up and running. Whereas the Kugoo M2 Pro is really designed for rougher terrains. So you got to keep this in mind depending on how you plan to use these e-scooters. Now let's talk more about the portability, because I think for most people out there, this is the biggest factor on choosing one e-scooter over another. Because sure, it's great that you could just like ride it and go long distances and speeds and whatnot. But the problem is what happens when you get to your destination? What do you do with it? It's not like you can just like lock it. Most cases, you got to carry it with you. So this is where the Segway 9Bot Max really kind of hinders, because it's such a great ride, but at the same time, it is considerably heavier than the other 3. So if weight is an issue for you, you might want to stay away from this because it's not something that you're going to be just being able to pick up. It's over 40 pounds. So it's not something you're going to be able to pick up and just go upstairs. Whereas the Unagi Model 1 is considerably lighter. It's the lightest of the 3. You can just pick this thing up, go inside a grocery store, maybe get some milk and whatever with one hand, you have the milk in the other, and you can just take it basically wherever you want to go. So if you're the type of person that uses other modes of transportation, say you're going to work and you got to take the bus, maybe over here in Vancouver, the SkyTrain, or maybe even like an Uber here or there, you're going to be able to take this with you wherever you go, and then you can use it, fold it back up into its nice folding design, and just carry it. Just the way that it sits, the handlebar is parallel to the ground, so you just basically grab it and go. So fantastic design. Now, the Kugoo M2 Pro, it is the middle weight of the 3, so somewhere around 30 pounds, which is not too heavy. It's kind of in the middle road, especially when you think about the price point. However, between the other 2, I have to say the Unagi Model 1 just excels in the portability. Now let's talk a little bit about the speed and distance of these three e-scooters, because everybody wants to know how fast does it go and what's my range. Now the Segway 9bot Max can go 30 kilometers max speed and do 65 kilometers distance. That, my friends, is rather extraordinary, okay? 65 kilometers is a long distance. The Unagi Model 1 can go 32 kilometers, but can only do 25 kilometers distance. So that's a big difference, 64 to 25. Now the Kugoo M2 Pro can do a max speed of 25 kilometers and do a distance of 30 kilometers. So honestly, when you look at what you're paying and what you get, especially when you compare it to the other two, it is way more affordable, and that's some decent speed and decent range when you consider the price that you would pay for it. So between the three, of course, both the 9bot Max and the Unagi Model 1 are very, very similar in terms of speed. You know, after 30K, you don't really want to go any faster on one of these e-scooters. That's a decent speed. So, but long distances, if you need to go long distances, hands down, the Segway 9bot Max is going to change your life. It could almost replace your vehicle if you have to do like just get from point A to point B every day. That said, you want to just take into account the portability and what you're going to do when you get to that destination, because it is a little heavier. You can carry it, but it's kind of annoying after a while because it's over 40 pounds. Now let's talk a little bit about the rideability of these three e-scooters. The Segway 9bot Max is a very, very comfortable ride. I mentioned it has a very large deck, so you have lots of room for your feet. It just goes, and it is a nice, decently smooth ride. If you're on smooth surfaces, it's pretty good. It doesn't have the best suspensions, but it does have big tires that can absorb some of the shock. The Unagi Model 1, as much as I love it for its portability, the rideability, it's a rough ride, okay? I'm not going to kid you. If you go on cracked sidewalks or do a little bit of a jump, there's really no suspensions. So it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride. So very good if you have a good terrain, like say a bike lane that you're going to frequent all the time. This will be fine. Again, the portability is fantastic, but there are compromises you got to make for that portability. And one of them apparently was the comfort of, shock absorption on bumpy roads. Now, the Kugoo M2 Pro excels when it comes to bumpy terrain. It's just got the best shock absorbing system out of all three. Probably the funnest. It wasn't the fastest, but definitely the funnest, because I just felt like a little kid going over like little jumps and probably doing things I shouldn't have done, a little bit dangerous. But because of the suspensions, it just made me feel like a kid. Now, with all that considered, let's try to figure out which one is right for you. As I said, if you need to replace your current vehicle, whether it's a car for short distances, anything from, say, when we're talking a 65 kilometer range with the Segway 9bot Max, that, my friends, is a decent range. So if you have to go long distances and you have a good idea about how you plan to carry this, say you have an office at work, you don't have any stairs, something like the 9bot Max would be fantastic. Now, if portability is your main concern, I'm telling you, the Unagi Model 1 is a fantastic design. It is compact, quick folding design. You're going to be able to carry this. However, if you have rough terrain, it is not going to be a very comfortable ride. It does have virtually zero suspension, so it's a little bit bumpy and rough. But overall, for the portability, you just can't go wrong. The Kugoo M2 Max, or the M2 Pro, sorry, that is really for rough terrain. If you're like gravel roads or just sidewalks that have just got cracks and bumps and everything like that, this is going to be your fantastic ride. It's got a sturdy build quality to it of being still, aluminum grade type of, aviation grade material. And it's really affordable. It's the most affordable of the three. So if you have a rough terrain, you're looking for something that won't break the bank, the Kugoo M2 Pro is for you. If you're going long distances, long range, like a commuter, I'm telling you, the Segway 9bot Max will please you. And if you just are all about portability, you take the SkyTrain, you just need something to just keep, bring it around with you to get from distances from point A to point B, the Unagi Model 1 will not disappoint. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review of these 3 e-scooters that you can get at Best Buy. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. If you want more information about me, you can go to my website, handyandymedia.com. I also have a YouTube page where I do a lot of DIY how-to content, review tech products as well. You can find that on YouTube. Just search Handy Andy Media or go to my website, handyandymedia.com. Andy Barrar here, signing off. See you again next time. Bye for now.